Can you tell me about yourself, where you're from?
Sure. So I grew up on the East Coast. I grew up in Waterbury, Connecticut, and most of my schooling was there. I went to NYU for my undergrad, and then I went to Brooklyn College for my master's, also in English and literary studies, and then I got my PhD here once I'd moved to Denver. So I've lived in Connecticut, New York, and Denver, and I taught in New York for 5 years. And I've now taught here in Denver for Denver Public Schools for 17 years.
To celebrate the extraordinary love between these two extraordinary people who we all love so much, and to see that love carry through to one another for their lives is something we are so proud to be a part of and can't wait to witness and bear witness to for as long as you both shall live.
And how did you like your teaching program?
That's a great question. I hated it with an all-consuming passion. They told me to quit.
Oh, wow, really?
Like several times, yes. They told me I was going to be a terrible teacher because I was such a dinosaur when I was 19 years old, because I had the nerve in the middle. I found in the teaching program that I personally was in, that they were looking for people to spit back answers a lot more than they were looking for us to actually think, even while they talked about how they wanted us to think all the time. So I had the temerity in a lecture when they talked about abolishing grammar entirely and moving completely to whole language learning to say, I don't know about y'all, but I got whacked with a ruler by a nun when I didn't know my grammar. So it seems a little cavalier for me, who has excellent grammar, to say, no, we shouldn't teach it at all, when all of us learned it that way. I agree that it's really hard, but do we have to throw out the whole baby and all the bathwater? And then my advisor, who was at that lecture, asked to see me and take a walk, and she said I really should think about another profession because I wasn't modern enough to where it was going. I would like to say that 25 years later, I feel vindicated that the complete abandonment of any explicit grammar teaching at all and the complete reliance on whole language learning has led to a lot of kids who can't pass the accuplacer because they've never been explicitly taught grammar their whole lives. But here's the thing, is that it would be fine if we, I'm sorry, I'm yammering.
It's okay.
It would be fine if we had done that, if we then did not judge kids on their grammar for important tests like the ACT, like placement things at college or whatever. If we had just said, oh, it's okay, whole language if we all understand. But we still expect kids to know that, and we haven't taught it for 30 years. And that's outrageous, in my opinion. Congratulations, seniors. We're going to miss you, but it's time for you to go. Go out, find something that you love, and do it enthusiastically and well. Have a wonderful journey. Hey seniors, congratulations on your graduation. I just want to remind you that the meaning of life is to live it, to be passionate about everything that you do, love the people around you, and love all of the things that you're engaged in. And that's why we're here. So have a great life. I'm so glad that our paths have crossed in this one. Hi seniors. As always, it's been an honor and a privilege to be your teacher. The only advice that I have for the future is that I hope that you choose yours. Decide what it is that you want to do, find out what you have to do to make that happen, and then go off and do that. I wish you all great joy and happiness, and I can't wait to hear about all of your success. Thank you. Hi seniors, it's Dr. R. I just want to wish you all of the best, and I want you to choose lives that you are passionate about and do something that always makes you happy. Each one of you that I've had the pleasure to work with is so extraordinary, and I wish you a life that is filled with great joy and lots of laughter. Take care. Hi seniors of the class of 2020. We are so proud of you. Congratulations on your graduation. We have been proud of you these last 4 years as you've grown into the remarkable human beings that you now are. Human beings who are facing an unbelievably changing world, and yet we are so confident in you, seeing the intelligence and kindness that you have shown in navigating these circumstances, and seeing how strong you are. And we know that you are ready, that not only are you going to thrive moving forward, but because you are the future, we are going to thrive moving forward because we're in very good hands. And I actually had joined the Peace Corps and was getting ready to leave when one of the schools I had sent a resume to called me in the middle of the school year. It called me in the second week of January and was like, we just had a teacher quit 2 weeks into the semester. Your resume says you can do plays. You know, like we'd like to hire a theater person. So they hired me to teach 6 English classes, as well as do the theater program. And so it was. So when I was 22 years old, I started as a mid-year replacement in a New York City public school, George Wingate High School in Brooklyn, New York. It was a school built for 1,000 students that had 3,500.
Oh my.
My class cap when I was 22 years old was 46. There were 46 kids per class. And it was everything that every bad movie has ever depicted an inner city school as being. It was at the height of Bloods and Crips in New York City. So we had like huge gang violence. We had an outrageous teen pregnancy rate. We had like all of those things that are inner city schools. And I fell in love with the kids. He was the first student I ever gave a cigarette to. He was the first boy I ever visited in prison, the first murderer I ever knew I loved. He was the first rough surface to scrape against my naive vision of the world and my belief I had the ability to save it. He was unique. But in a school brimming with wannabe gangsters always trying to show how hard they are, the real deal grows white hot. And this angry-eyed boy is no pretender. We're gonna try that again. You're gonna knock, I'll say hi, I'm Miss Rinaldi, you'll say hi and sit down. And the record's skipping in my head as fast as my pulse is going, come on, kid, please, just take the door over. Come on, kid, just take me out. And he did. With a glint in his eye, he played it all out and sat down. He thought it was kind of funny. I respected him enough to give him the out, but he respected me enough to take it.
And so can you tell me a little bit about your philosophy of teaching and how things have been going this year specifically?
Oh, I'm having a great year. I have great kids. No, I do. I have great kids. I believe deeply that education is wonderful, not because like it can get you a job or yes, it can get you a job and get you into college but being educated is, I'm going to sound so Pollyanna and corny, but it's a huge part of being alive. Like acquiring knowledge is like living in the world and interacting with it. And if I can get kids excited about it, you know, like they're not going to like cry over the play with me or the poem or whatever. But I think it's important that they see that I do, and a couple of them will. A couple of them, like on the DL, they'll be really moved by that poem we just read or this thing or whatever, but it might open their mind to then something that they might read. So in the most pragmatic terms, my philosophy of teaching is to make sure that the kids have the tools they need to make their own choices.
Today we have with us Dr. Rinaldi, our drama teacher here at South. So, Dr. Rinaldi, what can we expect to see this fall?
The fall play I'm really excited about. It's called The King in Yellow, and it's very different than anything we've done before. It's a science fiction story set on another planet with all kinds of intrigues in their royal court. It's supernatural and a horror story, and it's fantastic.
The King in Yellow? Apparently that play is supposed to be cursed. Are you not worried at all?
I'm not worried at all. I mean, the play has a bit of a reputation, but so does Shakespeare's The Scottish Play. Our cast is talented and strong-willed. Our audiences at South are intelligent and sophisticated. We can handle it, no problem.
Did you hear that there was an attempted performance in Italy last year? On opening night, the theater burned down to the ground and the audience was trapped inside. Are you not worried?
I'm not worried about that at all. I understand that there's a police investigation still continuing, so we probably shouldn't comment that much on it, but it looks to me like it was arson. There's a director and 2 cast members still at large, and I don't really believe we should speculate on things that we don't really know the facts about.
So the cast got out?
Yes.
And the audience?
The audience were still in their seats, but the fire brigade was able to contain it all to one building. I mean, what was left was really kind of just rubble.
Wait a minute. So the audience sat and watched the theater burn down around them?
Well, yes, but I'm sure it was completely an anomaly. We have nothing to worry about here at South High Student Theater.
Well, the South High Student Pink and Yellow will be the first weekend of November. Stay tuned for more information.
My job is to talk about books and read the thoughts of 150 extraordinary human beings every single day. And it's awesome. Like there's all those like internet memes and old platitudes that like, if you love your job, you don't work a day in your life and everything. I mean, like, I have a lot of papers to correct. Like, I work. It never feels onerous. Like, every single day, I'm happy to come here and talk to kids about books and talk to kids and read what they write and ask them questions and everything. It's pretty awesome.
It's my honor to introduce Jen Rinaldi.
It is indeed difficult to follow Rosemary, but it's an honor to share a stage with her. This poem is about the ways that women have power all throughout our lives. Women's work is in the kitchen. And in my Italian grandmother's kitchen, between the courses of our holiday feasts, we, the women, cleaned plates and slates and put the garbage where it belonged. Somehow my feminist mother and aunts never protested our being relegated to the sinks because they knew we had work to do. My acceptance into the world of women took place in that lemony, steamy, sudsy world of my grandmother's kitchen where we washed the good dishes in hot water and dried each one carefully with old, soft mapines. 3 generations of women stood, soft shoulder to soft shoulder, abundant hips bumping and touching as our hands worked swiftly and efficiently and our averted glances watching sweep of sponge or towel allowed truth to be spoken softly out loud. We spoke of all the things the men in our lives can't talk about. They are good, strong men who have never been given the gift of knowing how to tell each other things that matter. Women's work is in the kitchen, because in the midst of the soap and the scouring and the spray, the work of keeping men and families whole gets done. In my grandmother's kitchen, we found out who was okay and who wasn't, who needed help and who didn't, and who did, but we'd have to hide the fact that we were helping. We talked about children and parents and jobs and school and the sometimes overwhelming burden of just getting up every day, and Michael's drinking, and Jimmy's drugs, and how hard Pete is struggling again in school. We talked about the men who cheated and the ones who didn't, and the women who knew all about it and the ones who didn't, and who really wanted another child and who really didn't. And we laughed and we cried and we joked and got serious and worked together putting things in order. Women's work is the weaving of the ties that bind into something strong enough to catch you when you fall, but with enough slack to make sure it's not choking you to death. In the course of my lifetime, women's work got a whole lot harder. Gran died, and the kitchen that was hers hurt a little just to stand in. And my old aunts faded away into illness and death, and my father and my uncles divorced all of their wives, leaving so much more women's work to be done and so few women to do it. The last time I did dishes in my grandmother's kitchen, my last remaining aunt and I stood, just the two of us, crying, astounded by how many dishes there were. We had never noticed before. And now that my grandmother's kitchen exists only in my mind, all soft-edged and glowing, more than anything in the world, I wish I were standing there right now, mapine in hand, doing women's work. Because there's so much to be done. Thank you.